with Jesse Simonton, Brent Hubbs, as we wrap up our positional previews at Volquest.com. Tennessee just over a week away or so from the start of fall camp. A lot of eyes on a lot of this team and a lot of individuals on this team. I think a lot of eyes on this coaching staff as well. It was all new a year ago, Jesse. It's still got a lot of newness this year when you talk about Jim Chaney's here, Derek Ansley's here, T. Martin's here. What do you like about this coaching staff for Jeremy Pruitt as he heads into year 2?
Well, I think, Pruitt has kind of learned some hard lessons, and not surprisingly, every first-year coach is going to kind of take some lumps that maybe he did need to relinquish a little bit of control, whether it's both defensively. Now he's not going to be calling plays. I think that's a huge deal, the fact that Derek Ansley is going to be a first-time play caller, but especially on offense. I think the fact that, he felt the need to kind of go out and really coach, and that Tennessee's paying for it, to get Jim Chaney, because Jim Chaney has so much veteran experience. He knows this league. He can be this walk-around CEO coach, and a guy like T. Martin was just kind of like, the cherry on top. I mean, he has the potential to be a future head coach here down the league. What can he do with both this wide receiver group, and how can he kind of help the offense, both from the quarterback and receiver kind of experience together?
Well, then you look at Winky moves from running backs to quarterback. Obviously a more natural fit for him. And I think you see, just in watching spring practice, a much more assertive Chris Winky as a coach, as a quarterback's coach, compared to what we saw with him trying to learn how to be a running back's coach a year ago.
Well, you talk about the newness of this staff. They're only replacing 3 guys from a year ago. Helton obviously took the head coaching job at Western. And then you got Charles Kelly's at Alabama, and then Terry Fair, lost his job. But 4 guys now have new jobs on this staff. So you got David Johnson moving from running backs after he was at receivers. Chris Winky is now at his natural position. Kevin Scher is no longer the defensive coordinator. So how this all kind of works together is going to be fascinating to watch, because I do think some guys are maybe a bit more comfortable now. I think they're in more of their natural positions. But what does that mean for this? What does that mean for this team? How does it kind of translate to on-the-field success?
How much control do you think Jeremy Pruitt really is going to relinquish on defense? I know Derek Ansley is going to call it. Can he really let go of that in game and everything else? How hard of a challenge do you think that is for Jeremy Pruitt? Well, or is it easier because he groomed Derek Ansley for this position in a lot of ways?
I would say that is the more likely scenario, and that's what I would go to, that he's kind of seen this firsthand for how he saw how Kirby was groomed by Nick, how he personally was groomed by Nick, and that, once an assistant kind of gets to a certain point in their careers, you got to kind of let them take the reins a little bit. And so I think Pruitt is still going to be heavily involved in the game planning and in game time decisions, but on kind of a down-by-down basis. I do think it's going to be, Derek Ansley's call, and Jeremy will be over the headset, if he wants to throw in an audible, or if he wants to, run to the sideline and have Bailey Buchanan, call a cornerback blitz like he did against Auburn.
Well, it's interesting. In game last year, this was a pretty organized staff. It may have been chaotic on the sidelines, but there was not a lot of gaps where you went, what were they doing clock management? What were they doing this type of thing? Overall, though, for management of the program, what's key for Jeremy Pruitt in year 2? I mean, is it managing his team for an entire season so that they're not out of gas late in the year? Is it just letting guys have control? But what's the biggest key for Jeremy Pruitt's growth in year 2?
I would say it's letting your coaches do their job, and then by that trickling down to you be the head coach. And so that is kind of managing your team throughout the season, not getting frustrated by maybe some of the ups and downs and the inconsistencies, so that when you show up to play Vanderbilt, you still at least have some legs, because that's going to be a big game for Tennessee again this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. A lot of money invested in this coaching staff, a lot of high praise with this staff, a lot of big names with this staff, a lot of expectations because of this coaching staff. That's going to do it for the Volquest.com positional previews. For Jesse Simonton, I'm Brent Hubbs.